Alright, so my fan exploded. You can probably see a broken piece there. There's a broken piece down there. And they're known to break apart and cause the radiator to leak. So I don't see where it's leaking from yet, but I know my fan broke apart. So the radiator's definitely damaged. There's coolant everywhere. So I'm gonna take the fan and the radiator out and inspect the damage. And I have a used one that I had in my basement for my other car. So I just need to throw those in for now until I get a new one. I'm gonna order a new fan and a new radiator and put those in, but I need to drive this car right now. So I'm gonna throw those ones in. So I got the ramp set up. I'm gonna drive it up on the ramp because the radiator's gonna come out the bottom. Okay, so to make this easier for me, I'm just gonna take the front bumper off. So I just need to undo these 3 clips, pull the liner back a bit. There's gonna be a bolt right here on each side. Undo all these clips. And same thing for this side, undo those clips and the bolt under there. And as you can see, it's dripping. I'm just gonna undo these clips here so the bottom thing can come with it. And same for the other side. Alright, so I popped off all the clips and I took out the 10mm bolt that's right there. There's also a 10mm nut on the other side, on the inside. So you gotta pull the inner liner down, reach up in, and undo that on each side. And you gotta take these side marker lights, they'll just pop out forward. Same for this side, unplug it. And we should be able to get it off here now. I know the fog lights are still gonna be plugged in. And pull it back from each side here. Oh, it's starting to fall. Okay. Alright, so I'm just gonna unplug each of those and then I'm gonna set the bumper to the side. Alright. So I got the front off now. So I'm gonna undo that clip there, which I already did. And then undo the clip on the bottom. Right there. And I'm gonna take the plastic parts off. You can undo those clips too. So it's easier. Same for this side, those clips, that clip. And the one at the top here. Then we're gonna take these plastic pieces off. Alright, so I got those plastic covers off. You're gonna have to undo these too. They just pop out. And you got a 10mm at each corner here, holding it onto the radiator. So we're just gonna undo those so it's separate from the radiator. Alright, so I undid that. It's now loose from the radiator. So I'm gonna come on this side and undo that clamp. And I'm also gonna undo the other clamp there for that hose. Also gonna unplug that connector there. And after I unplug that connector, I'm gonna undo the bolt on each side here. There's a bolt on top for the fans. It's hard to see it. This is the bolt on each side, 10mm for the radiator fans. And I'm gonna take this hose off in the box here so that I can have room to get the fans out. So I'm gonna unplug that connector. And I'm gonna loosen that so we can pull this off here. I'm gonna undo this and just pull this hose off. After I undo this and that, I should be able to lift the whole thing right out. Alright, so I got this clip pulled back. I'm about to pull that upper thing off. I got the bolts out for the fans here, and if I pull it back, you can see the fan broke apart and destroyed the radiator. You can tell it's a new radiator, so kind of sucks, but I guess this is a tip for everyone: replace your fans because they will break. I was thinking maybe I'll get lucky, but your fans are gonna break if they're from the factory, so you might as well get them fixed when you can before it damages your radiator. Alright, so I'm gonna try and get this hose off. Pull it up, lift it all the way. Alright, I'm gonna try to squeeze this one. Oh, you can hear the pieces falling, hitting the ground. Alright, so I just moved the clip over so it squeeze out. Yeah, pull it straight out and up. There you have it. It's clearly broken. And the pieces are all over the ground. Well, these are what's left of it. The rest of it must be on the road somewhere. Yeah, this happened when I was driving, of course. You can see I left a trail. I saw steam coming from my hood and I looked under, saw that it was broken. It was leaking and I was thankfully just down the road. It wasn't overheating yet, so I got it here and got it here just in time. Alright, so I got this hose off. I'm gonna take that hose off now. So there's still gonna be coolant under the hole there, so I'm gonna get a bucket. I'm gonna drain the rest of the coolant. And after I drain the rest of the coolant, oh, there's still other pieces here. After I drain the rest of the coolant, then I'm gonna take that hose off there. And then we're gonna get to dropping this out. Alright, so those are 13mm bolts. So I'm gonna undo those on each side. Alright, before you take the bottom mount off, it's a good idea to tie this up, and you want to unclip that hose there so the hose isn't stuck to the radiator. This side's kind of held up by this, but tie it up. You can do it both sides if you want. Got it tied up there. And yeah, I'm gonna finish taking the bottom bracket off here. I got that side off. I just gotta take this side off, and once you take the bolts out, that's gonna fall, so you want to hold it while you're taking the bolts out. Alright, so I just got the radiator up bottom there. You just gotta move that around a little bit so it doesn't get caught on the hoses there. And this is the damage. See, it smashed it pretty hard. And we got the broken fan here. What's left of it? Alright, so after you take the old one out, you're supposed to take off all these flaps here on each side, move them over to the new one. And yeah, this is just off one of my other cars that I already had off in the basement, so it already has all that stuff on it. So Gonna slide it up into place and bolt the lower bracket back on. Make sure that both of these are in place. Obviously, I need to find that one. Right there. Alright, so I gotta bolt it back in there on both sides. Make sure you got it in the mounts there. And the radiator in between those. Make sure you don't lose these. Alright, so I'm gonna connect this hose back to the lower spot there. And I'm gonna wait to connect this hose because we want to put the cooling fans in first. So I'm going to connect the lower hose. Connect the lower hose. And then we're going to drop the cooling fans in. Alright, so after you drop the fans in, you gotta put the 2 bolts in on each side here. There. The other one's on that side there. And once you drop it in, don't forget to plug the connector in. You're gonna need that. And now we can do the upper hose here. I just need to put the clamp on there and we're good. Alright, so that's clamped now. Now we can put the air box back in. Connect the hose, tighten it on there. Alright, so I got the air box in. Bolt it there. Put the air hose back on. And don't forget to plug that back in, you're gonna need it. And I also tighten that, so it should be nice and tight on there now. Alright, so everything is done under the hood. Now we gotta put the AC condenser back in place, and we're gonna bolt it in with the 10 mils. It's gotta be lifted up into place, and yeah, once that's on, we'll go from there. Alright, so I got that bolted back in. Now I'm just gonna put these plastic covers back on. Alright, after you get everything on there, you definitely want to clip these back in too. Alright, I just plugged in my fog lights. So I'm just going to lift the bumper up into place and start putting clips in the top to hold it on. Alright, so I got the bumper back on. You want to be sure to put the bolt in here and then the nut up higher, and then put the clips in for the fender. And when you put the bumper in, you want to make sure that you feed these wires through, or you're going to be undoing stuff again and cheesing it. So you put the bolt in under there, and put these clips in, and the clips underneath too. And now all that's left to do before putting coolant in is put in the side marker lights. So you plug the side marker lights and we're going to put them in place. Alright. So they're both clipped in now, so I'm going to open up the coolant cap here. I'm going to wipe that because it's kind of gross. And where's the bleeder here? Oh yeah, the bleeder on the Hemis is right here. So it's a hex bit. I'm gonna have to check to see what it is, but we're gonna want to undo that to help bleed this. Alright, so I got the coolant up to the fill line there. I had the bleeder out and I poured coolant in there until it started to come out of the bleeder. So it should be mostly bled there. So I'm just gonna run it for a little bit, put the heat on high blast. I'm gonna put the heat on full blast to make sure that it's blowing out heat once it warms up. And then after running it for a bit, I'm gonna turn it off, let it cool down, and it should be a little lower because I know there's still gonna be some air in there. So once it's cold again, you just top it up to the cold fill line, and it might go down a little bit for the next couple drive cycles, and that's fine. Just top it up, and then you're good to go. And hopefully these fans don't explode in the meantime while I'm waiting for my new fans to come. One last look at the broken radiator there. You think I can fix that? I'm just joking about that, obviously.